Today our adventure takes us to Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois. We've been here before. This is an archdiocese cemetery, the Catholics. Very large cemetery. And as you come in and you go to the right, there in the corner is the main community mausoleum. Very majestic structure, and it is very, very large. Now, as I came into the main entry, to the left and to the right, the main corridors. If you take those corridors down a little bit a ways, of course, you've got crypts on the left, you've got chambers on the right with more crypts. As you get, I would say about 100 yards, and you could go either left or right. It's kind of like a mirror image. You come to this chamber, it's like a round rotunda, internal rotunda. It's a transition area to the next corridor as you continue. But if you stop in that rotunda and you look to the one side, hidden in the curved wall there is a large glass panel, and behind that thick glass are actual relics of many of what I'm going to say are the famous saints. And I have to tell you, I was just amazed at some of the names from St. Peter. And I know many of you have seen the movie about St. Bernadette. I was like, wow, St. Bernadette, her relic. Now, relics are part of the human body, very small pieces. Sometimes it's bone, sometimes it's blood, sometimes it's other things. They're very, very small pieces. But the one that caught my eye that I photographed is of Mary Magdalene. And here you see the image of her relic. And if I zoom in very, very close, you see what looks like, I'm going to say, some type of relic within some type of, maybe it's fabric or something. I can't really tell. I mean, they're very, very tiny. But a little background that I found very interesting on Mary Magdalene. Now, what's most interesting, I find, about the relics of Mary Magdalene is that there's some big pieces left, and they are on display. And most notably, it is her skull. They say it's her skull, the blackened skull. If you go back when they had exhumed her, if you will, or they found her, her remains were found intact, except they say for her jawbone. And when they opened up her tomb, in the dust, there was a wooden tablet wrapped in wax. And when they opened it up, they saw it said the words, "Here lies the body of Mary Magdalene." So presumably it was her. Now, also found in the tomb was a sphere, a glass sphere that was containing, as they said, earth soaked with blood of Jesus Christ, which was collected by Mary Magdalene at the foot of the cross. I find that amazing. Amazing if that's true. Can you imagine if you were looking at that? The skull of Mary Magdalene rests most of the year these days in a crypt in a massive Gothic basilica, a basilica that was constructed back in 1295 under Charles II, King of Naples, Count of Provence, and nephew of St. Louis, King of France. And it was on this ground that Mary Magdalene's body was buried by her good friend Maximin, who was a first bishop, and later hidden for centuries, only to be rediscovered on December 10th, 1279, during excavations ordered by Charles II himself. Now, when the tomb was first opened in 1279, it was said there was a wonderful smell of perfume that filled the air, and most interestingly to me, and many others of course, is listen to this, there was a small piece of skin attached to her skull in the spot where Jesus had touched her after his resurrection. The bishops who witnessed the excavation realized was through the miracle of Jesus' touch, the skin was still alive. Those in charge of the relics carefully sealed this skin in a glass vase, and you can see it today. The skull of Mary Magdalene was analyzed in 1974 and has remained sealed inside a glass case since then. Analysis of the skull and photographs of hair found on it indicate that it belonged to a woman who was around 50 years old and of Mediterranean descent rather than French descent, as it was originally thought. Now, since then, however, the Catholic Church has not allowed the removal of any portion of the skull for dating. Of course, we think, wow, carbon dating, right? Carbon dated back to what, the year 0 or the year 50? It's kind of sad that they don't do that, and they're probably afraid that it might be a different date, and that would kind of ruin it all, wouldn't it? But anyway, the year of the woman's death has not been determined as of 2022, so it's going to remain a mystery, and many will believe and many will not. I thought it was interesting, and I hoped you enjoyed this short little snippet on some history.